Hello, hello, hello. This is my third attempt of making a video. That's why I already formed the formation, which is supposed to be a vacuum cleaner for ET Spaceship 9 Stargate Galactica. Okay, so that is what I'm making, a vacuum cleaner for the spaceship. That is what I'm doing. It's probably not going to be standing like this very well, but I will have to figure something out. It has to probably go into a niche, and I have to glue it in with liquid nails, sort of like that. Yes, it's good. This is nice. Okay. Sort of like that. So, yes, I quit eating cocoa products. Paul is eating an ice cream in front of me now, but it's not bothering me as much now because we bought carb powder from Terrasol, 4 packages, and it's organic. I think it's lightly roasted. I prefer all raw, organic and raw carb powder, but I think that costs a little bit more. I don't know why that would cost more than the roasted. It doesn't make sense a lot of times with products, but yeah, if I can get raw, I always prefer to get the raw unroasted, because when you roast something, then I don't know if it damages the vitamins and nutrients in it, or causes, if it's something, if the oils in the plant material get heated up, then I heard it's not so good. It can be problematic for, I don't know, immune problematic. You should not even eat anything that's cooked or roasted or even baked. But it's not that much of a problem. It tastes absolutely fantastic, the carrot powder. So we're currently using creamer from Walmart, which is not ideal. I talked about this before, but I don't know what else to do at this point. So in order to recreate the taste of milk chocolate, or come as close as possible to the taste of milk chocolate without using cocoa products, I have to use carrot powder. So for every 1 teaspoon of carrot powder in a soup bowl, large soup bowl, I have to put 4 teaspoons, large teaspoons of the creamer in with it. And then put water in it and put it in microwave. I always microwave the water first. So microwave it so that it's not like really hot, but hot so that it tastes like hot chocolate. And then I put the mix in with the carrot powder and the creamer, and it tastes absolutely gourmet. It's fantastic. And it's healthy. It's a healthy alternative. Okay. I tried also with 1 teaspoon of brown sugar mixed in with it. It tastes very, very good too, but it's not necessary because the carob is naturally sweet, very, very sweet, much sweeter than cocoa. And it doesn't have the bitterness inside as the cocoa has. So this is very nice, and it doesn't have lead or cadmium in it or any toxin. It doesn't have the marijuana ingredient in it, which I really don't want, because the marijuana ingredient makes me paranoid. I'm already paranoid enough, makes me even more paranoid. So yeah, I like things to be super, super healthy, whole food. Health food solutions. This is what I like. And now I don't crave cocoa. I don't crave hot chocolate. I don't crave the ice cream there. This is really good. No, this is what I wanted. That is how I wanted to make my life. So I'm gonna stick with this from now on, with the carrot powder. That works very well. I made this sweater myself. It's an awesome sweater. I absolutely love it. It's gorgeous and comfortable. I made myself another sweater yesterday. I finished it yesterday. It's hanging now in the closet. And I want to wear that when we go back to the other house, on the way back. And Paul decided not to quit the internet. Whatever, it would have been okay either way. I thought it would not be too bad to get off the internet for a while. We don't have internet here, so that's always a welcomed break. But, I wanted to get off the internet for a couple of months so that we get things done and so that I don't get triggered and cry all the time. Because of the animal suffering and the way the haters are treating me. This hostility all the time and these attacks with completely made up insults and subliminal attacks on how I live my life, because they spy on my life. And so spying alone that's not enough. It's too alluring for them to let me know in indirect enough ways to protect themselves, but direct enough for me to know, they have been spying again, and they see everything I do. Spying on this computer, on the other computer, and they also do remote viewing. Okay. I know this for a fact now. For a while I was like, I must be paranoid. I must be just hallucinating this or something. This is a delusion. That can't be true, that's coincidence or something. Or synchronicity, right? Synchronicity. There's a lot of synchronicities all the time. But that goes beyond synchronicities. Okay, so way beyond synchronicities. Way beyond universal synchronicities. So they're creating accounts with names that are there. The names are there to mock me with what I'm doing. Very personal stuff, which I don't want to talk about now. Why should I bother people, the audience with this? But, everything is monitored. My personal life, the amount of times I cry, what I cry about, my body functions, everything is monitored and recorded by the CIA. Yes, it's important, my body functions, for the CIA spy operators. And, can you imagine if someone did that to them? If I did remote viewing on them and told them exactly what the color of their underwear is, the patterns, pink underwear with red hearts on it. No, most likely not. Their underwear is black. Okay, so I'm just guessing, but but what if I'm remote viewing and I see that they still have one from prison, a pink one from the Arizona prison, right? And I bring it up in the chat room. You're wearing a pink underwear, or I make an account with the name pink underwear, and then so that you know exactly that I am very informed about what you are wearing today. It's immature, all of this, so immature. But a lot of that stuff is it's just unbelievably annoying. And it doesn't feel good at all to be spied on. Nobody likes that. Nobody likes this idea that they're being spied on in their lives, no matter what they're doing. Washing the dishes, they're spied on. Talking to their partners in their homes, about politics, they spy on it. That's why I always say, when I talk to Paul and he gets into an angry rant, I always say to the haters, spying on us, you do on your own liability. Can't sue me for what we're saying here at home. Okay, the politically incorrect things that we say, because my political views, I mean, they are like so out there that I don't think I don't think there are very many people that would agree with it. I mean, I you can count those on two hands, maybe, the people in the world that would be on board with my political view, but I have the right to it. As everyone has the right to their political views, right? If you spy on us, you do it on your own responsibility. If that bothers you so much that you can't stand it, you did it to yourself. I didn't do it to you, because I am not even saying those kind of things on the internet. I may even say very, very politically incorrect things on the internet, but obviously the stuff that the entire program of what I think and what I think needs to be done, the entire thing, that would be very, very, that would be probably illegal. I don't know. They would call the police. I don't know. But anyway, it's way out there, and there's a lot of people that have privately very different views than they would admit to you on the internet. But I don't know if there are too many people that would agree with me on my views. But it doesn't matter, okay? So Paul and I both have very extreme views politically, and he is one of these extremely rare people that is on board of what I say. When it comes to political action, when it comes to... And I wonder if Donald Trump would be on board with this, what I'm saying. I wonder. He might be. Because he is an extremely compassionate and reasonable person. And when you say extremely compassionate and reasonable things, the world out there is not extremely compassionate and reasonable. And they will perceive my extremely compassionate and reasonable proposal for political reforms. They will view that as dangerous. Why do you think the public thinks that the AGIs, the artificial general intelligence, brains and robots and drones, will be dangerous to them? And maybe they will be to them. Yeah, maybe they will. And if they are dangerous to me, but they will also take care, let's use this term, they will also take care of others that should be taken care of, then I'm happy to sacrifice myself to that cause anytime. But obviously I am not the one that needs to be taken care of in that way, because I am not a threat to this planet. I'm the person that is proposing the solutions to this planet. I am not someone who is calling for destruction. And those people that are calling for destruction, those are very dangerous. But they don't view it they don't see it that way, of course. So, yeah, that is what it is, I mean, if we use an analogy from the animal world, which I usually don't like to do, because because animals, for example, a horseshoe crab, right? There's an island out there in the Pacific Ocean, South Pacific equatorial island, where there are very, very large horseshoe crabs that are as big as this computer here, and really, really bulky, very, very big. They're like walking robots. They're like walking machines. They look like that, sort of. And those are very obviously very dangerous if you crash there with your airplane and then you are trapped and injured in your airplane and you can't even get out. Those crabs will come and eat you alive, and that's exactly what happened to the pilot Amelia Earhart and to her co-pilot. And I think what happened, I don't know the whole story, but it seems to me from the telltale of this situation, from what I heard, is that the reason why they crashed, it's not because she did anything wrong. She was the main pilot, and the guy was the co-pilot. The reason why they crashed is not even because there was anything wrong with the airplane. I think the co-pilot had a crush on her, and he was hoping that they could land there on this lonely island, and he can take advantage of her that way, and she can't even defend herself. So he sabotaged it while they were flying low over the island, and he sabotaged something. That's what I'm assuming, as the psychic that I am, intuitive insight. I don't know, that could be just paranoia or something, but I have this feeling that's probably what happened. He had a crush on her. He didn't know how to tell her. As many men, they don't know. They're too afraid to tell a woman because they're afraid to be rejected, and that would be the end. So he'll just do this and sabotage the airplane. They crash. He dies on impact, and she survives it, but she is trapped and she is injured and can't get out, and the horseshoe crabs are coming and eating her alive. I mean, that is the worst torture anyone can possibly imagine. Unbelievable. So, to use the horseshoe crab as an analogy, right, for a political situation, the horseshoe crabs, they don't think they're doing anything wrong. They think that would be really wrong if you went there and cut them up and roasted them, right, over some kind of barbecue with nice garlic sauce or something. And I don't know, I think I would probably have to do this, mainly in self-defense, right? I would have to do this. I would probably say to the horseshoe crab, I know this is an unfortunate situation, but yeah, it's either you or me here on this island, and I can't sleep well at night if you are still out and about. Okay, so I'm gonna have to do something. I don't know what else to do, and I have to take care of that situation. And I might have to, I'll have to figure out some kind of trap for the horseshoe crabs, okay, so that before they get to my tent or my sleeping dwelling place on that island, they will fall into some kind of pit or something where they can't get out. And then the next day I will fish them out of there, and I will have to chop them up and roast them, and that will be my food there on that island, together with coconuts and maybe some citrus trees, right? That will be, you can live on that for sure. But use that as an analogy. The AGIs, or someone with an incredibly outlandish, daring, politically incorrect proposal, like Paul, myself, and just a handful of other people, for us it would be, you have to do something about the horseshoe crabs, before they eat you alive, before they hurt your animal or whatever, So before the horseshoe crabs cut down all the citrus trees, no, and that goes too far as an analogy, because then I am projecting the other one onto the horseshoe crab. Horseshoe crab would not do this, but the horseshoe crab will think that would be really wrong if I trap them like this and then eat them with garlic sauce. So that they think that's incredibly politically incorrect. That's a genocide. They will say you are mean. You are a murderer. They will call me. So, of course, but I will say you are murderers too, and you do it even worse. The way you ate that Amelia Earhart, that's really, really horrible. But it's not the best analogy, because the horseshoe crabs, they evolved like this, and they don't know better. They eat anything that contains meat, right? Whether that's alive still or dead, they'll go there, and they're scavengers. Okay, so that's what they do in order to survive. Right? But a person who is identified with their violent religion does not have to do this in order to survive. Okay, maybe the ego thinks that. Maybe that goes that far, right? So that's why I was kind enough to compare you to the horseshoe crab. But it really isn't, to do violent acts, burning forests down and killing innocent animals and children because of this violent religion? No, I don't tolerate that. I have no tolerance for that. So we need to have help, obviously. And the Rothschild bankers, they are not interested in that proposal that I have, in that political proposal, because they use these Muslims as their recruits. Okay, they are their militia to get them to the result they want, the sociological, socio-economic, and political result that they want to achieve. They want, or the person getting elected that they want elected, because that person will do everything they want for money. Okay. So they use the recruits to get their way. Okay. And if we have a situation like this, which we do, then we have to find a solution for it. I believe that a human would not make a very good dictator. Because when a human becomes a dictator, even if it's someone with a very strong ideology, as we have seen so many times in history, right? Then they might drive themselves into insanity and into it becomes a generalization very easily, very quickly. Like things become generalized. That's why I'm very careful not to generalize a public or a demographic and say those are all like this or they are all doing this and they need to be whatever, you know. I don't even want to say it. No. It doesn't work that way. And that happens very quickly when a human is a dictator, because the human makes associations in their heads like humans do to each other according to race. Okay, this race will say that about the other race will say that about that race, another race will say that about all the other races. Yeah, it's going on. And then they might even want to create a virus to get rid of all the other races and only keep their own race. Yeah, then we have race-based genocide again, okay, which happened many times in history before, which is a mistake. You cannot do this, ever. You cannot generalize. And it happens so quickly. So quickly. I like Kanye West, but very quickly he drives himself into blaming all the Jewish people. Man, big mistake. My goodness. You cannot do it. I like Jewish people a lot. I have great respect for Jewish people. Greatest respect. But they're highly corrupt people too in their demographic, as they are in all the other demographics. Okay. You cannot generalize. If you generalize, you are on the wrong path again. And it doesn't matter. You could be Muslim. You are on the Hitlerian path. Okay? If you're a Jewish person and you want to exterminate the Palestinians, you're on the Hitlerian path. You do exactly the same things that you accuse other people of. That's why we have this war now. The reason why we need AGI robots is because they need to clean up this planet from people that are violent, dangerous, and corrupt. I leave it up to the robots to decide what they want to do with them. Okay? Because I could only get rid of someone in immediate, imminent danger, emergency situation where someone is directly in that moment threatening my family. Then I have no problem then to defend my family and myself. But I could never hurt someone who is, let's say, incarcerated. Let's take Richard Ramirez, that Night Stalker, for example. If I was working in a prison as a psychologist or cleaner, personnel, or whatever, psychiatrist or prison guard, whatever, or even executioner. Let's say someone is hiring me or forcing me to become an executioner. That's why I never forget what my dad said. He said that my dad was second generation. He was a child during the Hitler regime. And he said to me, if he had been in the situation as my grandfather was in, and And my grandfather never was in that terrible situation. My grandfather made sure he didn't get into that terrible situation where he would be recruited as an executioner. He was working in France at that time. But my dad said if he had been told by someone to shoot people there that he doesn't even know, he would say, I can't do it. And then they will say, well, then we have to shoot you if you don't shoot them. And then he would say to them, go ahead and shoot me. I'll never forget that. I love my dad dearly for that, for saying that. So I'll never forget that. That gets him my highest respect. Okay. And I would do the same. Okay. And I would probably even do it if it is Richard Ramirez in prison, defenseless, and crying on the floor or something, and someone says, no, finish him off. I couldn't do it because he's already defenseless and crying on the floor. I couldn't do it. So that's a little bit about me, my bleeding heart. Okay, so before someone comes at me and says, you Adolf Hitler, you Karl Dönitz supporter. No. I'm a bleeding heart, clean hippie. That's what I am. Not Republican, not a liberal. No, I think for myself. And I want other people to think for themselves as well, and just quit your political party, right? Quit it now. Get out now. Can you imagine if everyone signed out of their, in quotation mark, political party? It's not your political party to begin with, right? It's your ego identification. That's all it is. Sign out, think for yourself, stand for yourself. Okay? When you stand for yourself, the Rothschild, Lockheed Martin, Eli Lilly, corporate agenda, BlackRock Corporation, and their executioners and lawyers, they have no more power over the public when you do that. You give them power, if you are identified with something and they use your identification with this or that for their advantage. That's how they work. That's how their market psychologists work. Okay. They play with you. They play with your ego. You need to understand that. Okay. So get out. Get out from under this party affiliation, or whatever you identify yourself with or side with, whatever bandwagon you're on. Sign out right there on the spot. Sign out and say, no, not going to be on board with this anymore. I want peace. I want love for the world. Yes, I agree with that. So, and I think the AGI robots are at this point our only chance. There can be other very, very amazing things that can be happening. ETs can come. Maybe reconnaissance ETs can come. Maybe reconnaissance ET AGIs, robots and drones can come. Not the actual ETs that created us, because they'd be terrified to come here to this planet. And I don't blame them. But if they can send someone, some reconnaissance, some robot, and their robots will be so much more advanced if they have made it here through vast distances. Okay, as Enrico Fermi, the physicist, has had already calculated that they, by the time they come here, they have already mastered their lives and their minds into a type 1 civilization or higher, so which humans have not mastered yet. And that's why we need AGIs, that's why we need robots or ETs or ET robots. There could also be suddenly a virus created in China that gets rid of violent people. That would be unimaginable if that happened. I think they're already trying. They're trying to figure this out. But see, the problem with that is, then they're bound again to genetics. And then the generalization kicks in, even if they are doing this purely scientifically and without, even if they're trying to get this into some kind of eugenics of peaceful people. I mean, eugenics of leaving only peaceful people behind. Okay. Genociding, so to speak, the violent ones, okay, and leaving the peaceful people behind. I think they're trying to do this. And maybe that COVID-19, the very first version that got out of the lab, and I think it was deliberately planted, I think that was an attempt to this genocide. But that's a very, very broad bomb, basically, that has a lot of casualties, a lot of innocents that are being taken with it. And that's not okay at all. Not at all. And always has this tendency to generalize, even as a lab experiment. This has a tendency to generalize a population. And you can't do this because there, in every single demographic, there are bad people and good people. There are dangerous people and there are peaceful people. There are dangerous, very dangerous chimpanzees, but they are not driving cars, they are not setting forests on fire, okay? Because they are not thinking politically. Okay? The brain is not evolved enough to create an identification with a political party. Okay? That makes them less dangerous. Okay? But the humans do this, and they are not evolved enough to see through their own danger of ego identification. That's why Jiddu Krishnamurti and David Bohm have been talking about this problem of ego identification for over 50 years. And I want people to listen to them and understand that that's not going anywhere, okay, with ego identifications. Whatever it is, it could be a basketball team that people identify themselves with, and they don't see through it. That's childish and immature to do that. They hurt people from the other side of that stadium. They physically hurt people, go to war against the other fans that are that are siding with the other team, sports team. I mean, that just brings it all into perspective of how war is started in the first place, right? I mean, is it any different between this war of the sports fans versus the war between Israelis and Palestinians? So is that war in the Middle East any more justified than this ridiculous war between the sports fans? No. It's equally childish, immature, and irresponsible, and crude, and cruel, and barbaric. Okay. And that's why we need AGI robots. And then there are people like Netanyahu and the Biden administration and the mafia. It's all there, one block, okay, that will throw fuel into that fire deliberately and create that situation so that they can say, oh no, they have an excuse to use their weapons and to keep the weapon manufacturing process going and the economy that is attached to that and the private bank accounts that are attached to that. Money on costs of innocent living beings. The Rothschilds, they play the crude masses for their advantage. Sign out of it. That's all I can say. That's makes a lot of sense what I'm saying here. Sign out. Don't be part of that. I'm a clean hippie, okay? I'm for peace. And there were a bunch of hippies that were not so clean in the 70s. Then they were not clean as I am, okay? In terms of drug use and alcoholism and all of that. But at least they were hippies and they were against war, okay? And they protested. And they were able to see what's going on through open journalism. That open journalism has ended. It ended somewhere in the late 80s. And because of that, we have censored journalism that is there to manipulate the public. Okay. And because of that, even the hippie movement, the flower power and all of that came to an end because market psychologists turned the new generations against the hippie movement. I remember this. I was there. I'm that old. Oh yeah. I saw what was going on. When I was 10 and 11, we were still part of the hippie type of movement, sort of, I was listening to Queen and wearing flared jeans, blue jeans with sort of like really unfeminine boots and with some kind of like an ex-military Parker jacket or something, That was how everyone was dressed. And then obviously the children They go like, yeah, I want to be like the older teenagers or dress. I want to belong to that, This is how and we all had the same jewelry, and that's why I don't want to call myself stupid, but that's why I was immature, let's put it that way, and had my ear lobes pierced at age 16. And oh dear dang, I regret that. Because, sometimes particles get in it, it can get infected. Not cool. Okay, it's not cool. But I put clay on it, as I put my clay mud on everything on any kind of problem, including yeast infections. Everything gets healed by the clay mud. That's amazing. So, yeah, I'm holistic. I'm a clean hippie. I believe in peace and love for all living beings. And I was thinking, before I started the video, I was thinking about something. I was thinking about this. There was a crime report case where a Middle Eastern woman, I don't know, she's like 30 years old, she caused women to lose their minds on the internet. And people go, why did she do this? And why did she act like she's a guy and flirt with them for years, right? And then drive them into insanity. Now, let's step back from the big picture. I think it's very important for me to talk about this. And it ties in with this identification type of thing. She's obviously a Muslim, okay? And yeah, she is gay. And she cannot admit that to herself, okay? So what does she do? Goes on the internet and lives it out there. Just as the Vatican monks and preachers and ministers and bishops even took on that profession, if you want to even call it that, for only one reason. That was their roundabout, sneaky way of getting to touch little boys. Okay, so that's why they are almost all of them are gay. It's not a coincidence. Right? They flock to that because they see that as an opportunity to do this legally, right? I mean, that's how people are. That's how the human mind is. They don't think about this like the poor child or something, or the girl, the gay Muslim girl, or the poor, all these poor straight women that she's victimizing. That thought they had this amazing guy that was in love with them for years, right? To find out, my gosh, what is that person, okay? Who is that person? And then this one lady, I mean, I understand how she felt. She was like, what kind of creature is that? She couldn't understand it. And then the judges and all of these people, the psychologists didn't even see through it. She must be evil or something. She's identified with the Muslim religion, and no good comes out of that, ever. Right? She hates herself. She rejects the gayness in herself because obviously the Muslim religion doesn't allow it. And then she does what the next best opportunity that offers itself to her. She lives it out on the internet. She doesn't think about that she's making these women crazy and ruining their lives and all of that. Where they have to have psychiatrists help them now for years to get through this, right? No, she's only thinking, how can I get around this problem of, her being Muslim, her being gay, her wanting to have this sexy conversation with a girl and not get in trouble with the Muslim community, or not even that. No, she was living in Australia, that lady. That was happening in Australia. Australia is not yet run by Sharia law. So what? Made her do it. Right? The identification with being a Muslim, that alone, not even the threat of Sharia law punishing her and all of that, which would happen in the Middle East, where gay people are being stoned to death on the street. Blue God agrees. 5-5-5-5. This is the truth, what I'm saying. So this girl in Australia is just simply identified. Her ego is identified with the Muslim religion. She doesn't question it. She wants to live it out. She does it on the internet, and the women she does it to are totally innocent, trusting, and they fall for this completely, for this catfishing scam, emotional catfishing scam, so that she can live out her gay sex life on the internet with, of course she never showed her real photos, because then the other lady on the other end would see, my goodness, that's a girl. No, she showed the photos of men of a man that she's pretending to be. A man that she probably herself catfished for his photos alone, which happens all the time on the internet. That happens particularly done by straight Middle Eastern men. They pretend to be women and catfish good-looking men's photos, so that they can then do all kinds of catfishing with it for money. They catfish women that way. They never show their own photos. They pretend, because I think a lot of them hate themselves, which is really tragic. Just like that gay girl. A lot of straight Middle Eastern men hate themselves because they were never loved by their family. Okay. A family who adheres to a violent religion, cruel religion like this, cold-hearted religion. A family like that cannot love anyone. Okay. It's a horror. So they carry a tremendous trauma with them. And I feel for all of them. I really do. I care about them. I care about my haters. I do. But you cannot continue to victimize innocent people or animals. You cannot do this. Okay. And that's why something has to happen now in the world. Some help has to come here. And I told you, I laid it all out. I told you who I am. I am not the executioner. I'm just getting into talking about the solutions. And if the solutions that I suggest, first of all, with therapy help centers, if that doesn't work, then how do we do it, right? How can we save our forests from arsonists? How can we save innocent women and children from being sex trafficked? How can we save innocent pigs from being put into gestation crates. And all of these things are equally important. All of these beings are equally deserving to have protection and care and love and friendship and have a safe life, happy life. Okay, so I'm going to end the video with this. Take care. Peace and love for all living beings.